Under the Biden administration, what we see is it appears inflation was not transitory, record job growth was not record job growth, and well, we've now hit $1 trillion in credit card debt. What a true sign that the economy and the people of America are doing fantastic. This is proof of Bidenomics and how well it has succeeded. So, let's go ahead and move on. We see the fact that if we've hit $1 trillion in credit card debt and we've roughly apexed $33 trillion in national debt, at what point do you think we're going to be doing solid and that Bidenomics is working? Exactly. Let's go ahead and jump in. From Rothmus on Twitter, and he says transitorian, and this is in reference to Janet Yellen talking about the fact that, well, inflation's only going to be transitory, and you don't have to worry about it for long because it's going to fade away realistically, and you're not going to have to be taken over by it because it's not going to destroy the economy, and it's not going to devalue the dollar that much, and it's not going to last even if it does. Well, it turns out they were wrong about all of that. Here we see from Yahoo Finance, this is the graph, and it says credit card debt hits $1 trillion, consumer loans, credit cards, and other revolving plans. Keep in mind that a trillion is literally 1,000 billions. The fact that we have hit $1 trillion in credit card debt truly shows how well the Biden administration has done when it comes to handling the economy. And don't think I'm just talking about the Biden administration. Donald Trump pushing the metrics of lockdowns is something that should absolutely be used to criticize him. 2020 was one of the most disastrous years in all of modern American history, and Donald Trump was the person who was the front runner of it that put Fauci on the job. He needs to be held accountable for this, and he needs to be honest and step forward into the light to claim the fact that he needs to own that he fucked up. Otherwise, this is going to be a major blow to his campaign in 2024. Okay, moving on, we see Joe Biden. Folks, this is what Bidenomics looks like. And what we see is this is showing job growth and job creation throughout the different presidencies. And Joe Biden going all the way up to 13 million jobs. 13.373 million. Isn't that just unbelievable? Record job growth in the first 30 months in office. Well, we have community notes to come in and piss on the establishment's narrative so we can go ahead and understand the truth. The 13.373 million jobs is factually correct, but missing important context. This is what the establishment and the corporate press does all the time. They'll give you a nugget of truth and then obfuscate all the information around it so they can hand you their narrative. The July 2023 figure, 3.971 million, higher than February 2020, peak of employment before COVID-19 forced mass layoffs. What it's saying is that it's accurate. 9.402 million jobs have been recovered and 3.971 million jobs have been created. So what that means is he's still under the jobs created during the Donald Trump administration. Isn't that just fascinating? So moving on to Justin Amash. Justin Amash being one of the best congressmen out there. Go give him a follow. Well worth your time. Bidenomics is top down and trickle down. The state takes from you. Government officials decide winners and losers. Bureaucrats and cronies get rich. Giant corporations get subsidies and welfare. And you're instructed to be grateful for whatever fractions make it back on the way down to you. Absolutely true, spot on, he couldn't be more correct. And this is from the Daily Caller. It says, the spike in gas prices has nothing to do with Bidenomics. CBS host Gayle King says that it's actually due to the weather. Yeah, I mean, when we were dealing with the process of suffering from, really low gas prices during the Trump administration, which I will admit, that's something Trump did really good, was getting us energy independent, which is what lowered the price of energy for so many people, which is what actually put so much money back in so many people's pockets, which is one reason they believe Trump was so good on the economy. But yeah, they're not saying the fact that, oh no, it's inflation, and it's the fact of the regulatory process that are affecting the price of gasoline. No. It's the sun monster.
Have you noticed a recent surge in gas prices this summer? Join the club. You're not alone. The national average price of a gallon of regular is now $3.83. That's about 30 cents more than it was just a month ago. One big factor might surprise you. It seems this summer's extreme heat.
How are these serious people? How does anyone treat these people like they're serious individuals that should be respected when it comes to giving you the news and giving you factual information? It's fucking unbelievable. Anyways, moving on. From the Babylon Bee, it says, White House says Bidenomics so successful the average American has twice as many jobs as they had 2 years ago. And here's the deal. I actually know more people now that are working 2 jobs than they were prior to the COVID lockdowns. And it's because of the fact of what happened to them, because they got shifted so far down the economic ladder. All because of the lockdowns that were pushed both by Donald Trump and by Joe Biden. Do not forget that this is on both of them, and they both need to be held accountable for this. Moving on, we see Charlie Kirk, Trump's blue-collar boom versus Bidenomics. Jobs created in the first 30 months, Trump 4.9 million, Biden 2.1 million. Real family incomes, Trump up 6,400,000. What we see is Biden down 4,000. Gas prices, Trump $1.87 a gallon, Biden nearing $4 a gallon. Mortgage rates, Trump 2.65%, Biden 7%. Inflation, Trump 1.9%, Biden record highs. Regulatory costs per household, Trump cut by 11,000, Biden raised by 10,000. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this video. This is from Fox News, and I don't really watch Fox News much, but it's good to get the understanding of multiple different perspectives. And this is someone who they have who is an economist who can go ahead and hand us these numbers. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into this video. Let's go.
Because Mr. Trump understands that the leading issue in this presidential campaign is the economy. And he has been hammering on the failure of Bidenomics and proposing his own pro-growth alternatives. This is all well over a year, and I'm going to argue that that's one of the key reasons for his enormous lead in the Republican primary polls. And recently, a number of polls show him beating Biden. Yes, it's the economy, stupid. The mainstream media won't report it. So, let me just give you some key bullets from the speech. Right after some introductory remarks to the variously assembled South Carolina dignitaries, Mr. Trump launches right in, and I'm going to quote, "One of the most important issues of the campaign will be who can rescue our country from the burning records of Bidenomics." You know what that stands for, right? Henceforth, it will be defined as inflation, taxation, submission, and failure. And then he goes on, but day one, the Biden economic bust will be replaced with the historic Trump economic boom. The contrast between our agenda's incredible success and Joe Biden's crushing economic values couldn't have been more stark. Let's look at some of the facts comparing Crooked Joe versus President Trump. Under Biden, real incomes have gone down by $7,400 per family, gone down by $7,400 per family. Think of that. Under President Trump, however, yearly income went up on average by $6,000. And he continues. During Biden's first 30 months in office, just 2.1 million jobs were created. And by contrast, during my 30 months in office, we created 4.9 million new jobs, a record millions and millions more than experts predicted. And then he goes on. Under Bidenomics, gas prices are again nearing $4 a gallon. Inflation reached the highest level in half a century, and mortgage rates pushing a brutal 7%. When I was your president, the 30-year mortgage rate reached a record low of 2.65%. Inflation less than 1.9%, and we had gasoline down to $1.87 per gallon. And there's more. Under Biden, the radical Democrats have piled up over $10,000 of job-killing regulatory costs onto the backs of every American household in less than 3 years. And by contrast, under the Trump administration, we cut the cost of job-killing regulations by an amazing $11,000 per household. And then he goes on still more. Joe Biden immediately shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, surrendered our energy independence and our future dominance, and now he's pushing the largest tax hike in American history. And then Trump continues along this line, citing more facts and more figures, and by the way, pledged to end Biden's government spending spree. And really, for the first time, Mr. Trump started talking about a balanced budget and presidential impoundment powers concerning waste, fraud, and abuse. So, folks, don't tell me this election is just going to be about court cases. Trump has been running a strong economic growth and prosperity agenda ever since he declared his candidacy. He is a very good politician. He understands that these are going to be kitchen table, pocketbook issues in the lead on the economy. And I will say this, no other candidate in the GOP, and certainly not Joe Biden, is talking about the economy the way Donald Trump is.
From ABC News, U.S. credit card debt now totals nearly $1 trillion. U.S. consumer credit card debt has jumped to nearly $1 trillion, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York said on Thursday. Credit card balances increased more than $60 billion over 3 months ending in December. The skyrocketing credit card balances coincided with an increase in the interest rates paid on such debt, crunching household budgets as high inflation gets higher and higher, eating away the savings that many assembled during the pandemic. The average credit card interest rate offered in the U.S. over the 3-month period of 2022 stood at 21.6%, according to WalletHub, a jump from 18% a year prior. An aggressive series of interest rate hikes imposed by the Federal Reserve has caused a jump in credit card rates. All right, so if you are someone who's suffering from credit card debt and high credit card rates, something that you can do, you can go ahead and call your credit card company and you can ask them to lower your APR. That is something that a lot of times they will do, and it will help you out in the long run. So what we see is effectively the same thing from the Hill. Consumer debt climbs as American credit card balances surpass $1 trillion. Basically an article that says the exact same thing. Consumer debt grows by $17.9 billion from May to June as credit card crunch brought a Federal Reserve rate hike that drove a sharp gain in the amount of outstanding credit for payments like mortgages and car loans. The number, which is not adjusted for inflation, come in well ahead of expectations of $13 billion, nearly double the increase from the previous month of $9.4 billion. Debt levels on lump sum purchases like households and student loans increased by $18.4 billion, offset by a 0.6% decrease in the amount of revolving credit, which includes things like credit cards and lines of credit debt. So, moving on from that, what we see is we have the national debt clock, and usdebtclock.org is a place where you can go for this. We are currently $33 trillion in national debt. I remember when I was in high school, we were roughly in $19 trillion in debt, and I was like, wow, how are we ever going to pay that off? So here's the deal. If you were wondering what your payment that you would be allotted to go ahead and give the federal government or whoever comes to go ahead and call back on this debt, well, it turns out that we have a liability per citizen clause in the bottom right. And what that is currently, you as a citizen owe $577,420. How are you going to pay that off? If the federal government comes knocking, how would you pay it off? Do you actually believe that they would extort this money out of the populace? How would they even achieve this metric when the fact is that we're paying off our debt to China with even more money that is creating debt? And China understands this system, but because China is a house of cards, much like how the U.S. economic system is, because of all the regulatory structures that are embedded in it, well, it turns out the fact that they can't call on us to go ahead and pay back our debt because it will capsize China much like it will capsize us. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and check out the U.S. debt clock consistently to see what's going on with the monetary structure of the U.S. economy. Go ahead and pull up the M1 and M2 money stock. Those are also great sources to go ahead and look at. Thank you for watching if you got this far. I really appreciate it. Share this with someone if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you really like this content. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. I'd really love to have some counters to my perspective on this. I'll read whatever information you can give me and I'll dive into it. Thank you for watching. Stay lovely. Stay great. Peace out.